ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। दिवि भूमौ तथा काशे बहिरन्तश्च मे विभुः यो विभात्यवभासात्मा तस्मै सर्वात्मने नमः। Yoga Vasishtha takes us on a journey in the Sthiti Prakarana in this chapter and taking us towards the Nirvana Prakarana, that was the next one. And in the last portion of the Sthiti Prakarana, the chapter 12, 20th, brings about this idea. Until this point of time, he came from what is called as Manonasha. Manas is something which is connected with the world outside, is completely occupied by the world outside. And Manas, when he says Manonasha, it also includes the intellect, it also includes all the analysis and preferences, etc., all those things. And then you just dissolve all that, that's what is Manonasha. And from there, next he comes to what we have seen earlier in 3 classes, that was the idea of Chitta Prashamana. That means Chitta has to be made, the whole Chitta has to be made peaceful, gentle. As I was saying the other day, that Vritti Nirodha is the way that Patanjali looks at it. And whereas Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he looks at yoga as the Shanti, Chitta Shanti is the way that he looks at. And steadiness, that's what is the way Yoga Karma Kaushalam, he brings about it. And now it comes to the Yoga Vasishta. Yoga Vasishta insists on Chitta Prashamana. And Prashamana is that the way that it is peaceful. Again, it can get into the activity. That's what last time that we were discussing about the Chitta Prashamana. And after the Chitta Prashamana, then more of a positive aspect that he brings about in the Chitta, and that's what he says, Chitatma Bhavana. Chid Atma Bhavana, that means to say, the Chitta is filled with the Atma Bhavana, Swarupa, or self, in a positive sense, in the way that Satchitananda way, that we try to look into that aspect of it. So we have come to that level, Manonasha to Chitta Prashamana, and from Chitta Prashamana, we go to Chidatma Bhava. So this chapter 20th is actually the Chidatma Bhava, that is, we are nothing but pure consciousness. And somehow or the other that we were either afraid of accepting or being in that, or maybe that we have been aggressed by the world outside, that we have come out of that. Whereas this particular chapter where Vasishta tells Rama about the Chidatma Bhava, we come to that particular aspect of this journey towards the matter to the self. And that's what Patanjali also gives us. The journey of yoga is a journey from the outside matter into the deep inside the self, or the Brahmasthiti, Atmasthiti. And he brings about that concept here in this particular chapter very clearly. And in the beginning itself, Vasishta says, in the very first sutra in the 20th chapter, he says that Dikkala-dyanavacchinnam shantam chinmatra makshayam brahmaivahamiti sthitva mauni swatma sukho bhavaha. So, hey Rama, the simple idea that Vasishta says is that Dik-kala anavacchinnam, that means to say, not divided by the space and time. We have always this division of space and time, and then not divided by the space and time, and anavacchinnam, that means not divided, shantam, quiet, tranquil, peaceful, and chinmatra makshayam, And that's where pure consciousness, which is unending, imperishable, kshayamiti nasti, that means where there is no loss at all, and that kind of a thing, and that imperishable, thus remaining Brahmaivahamaham stitva. I am the Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahman. And with that idea, Aham iti stitva, Mauni Swatma Sukho Bhava. Only way that you can find the real Sukha is being in the self. Swa Atma Sukha, that means I can only find out the Sukha within me. Many times what happens is that the object appears to be giving us Sukha, situation outside appears to be giving us the happiness, the bliss, and object gives us the bliss, it looks like that, or a situation gives us the bliss, or the recognition gives us the bliss. All these things that we think that the bliss is a cause for these are the causes for the bliss. But all that they are helping is to see that you find the happiness within yourself. Actually, all those things are also trying to really touch your own nature for that moment. It's like the way that health is there within us. Abscess is the way that we come out of it. And then, when you scratch the abscess, then you find so much of comfort in that, joy in that. Why? It is because that the abscess itself is the way that you have come out of your nature. And then the scratching itself will take you back to your nature momentarily. But later on, it is going to increase the whole thing. And this is what Shastriji always used to give an example, that we go outside to get the happiness, but in the process that what happens is that we get that happiness temporarily, but it gives us a tendency to go out more and more. So, Swa-Atma Sukhaha, Sukhi Bhava, Sukho Bhava, you become one with that Atma Sukhaha. This is what Vasishtha tells Rama. Find the happiness that is there within you, find the satisfaction, find the Sukha. In fact, the word Sukha is happiness. We don't know how that is derived in English, but then Sukha is a very beautiful idea in Sanskrit. Kham means basically Akasha. Kham means space. Kham means where it's expansion. And then you are into that expansion, which is supposed to be very pleasant, and that's what it is called as Sukham. That means to say Su plus Kham, or that space that is there where you are comfortable, you are just be there in a simple way, and that's what is Sukham. And this experience, many times we can also have like this, that we go travel around so many places and so many things and all that, then you are filled your mind with all kinds of information, everything, and then once you come back home, you just come back home and then just slump yourself in the couch or the house and whatever it is, and say, and then at that point of time, genuinely it comes in your mind that there is no place in the world like sweet home. It's everybody's experience. It's ignorance of the knowledge, or it may be the person that who goes to all kinds of things, very sophisticated life. Even for such persons also, all that which is offered to go outside and all that, one moment that you come back home, there is an air of feeling that of Sukha that is there. This is what is called as you are in the space where you feel comfortable, you feel totally that at ease. You don't have to have any clutches, you don't have to have any restrictions there, and that's a feeling of Sukham. So therefore, Swatma Sukhi Bhava is Sukha within yourself, which is basically much more deeper than ordinary Sukha that we are thinking of. It is the idea called as that I am not even with the body that I am Sukha, with the mind that I am in the state of space, but then deep inside, at the heart level, even the intellect also I leave behind, and then I have nothing to bother about that, and then I'm just resting in deep within myself, and that self which is there at the heart, and that is supposed to be what is the Brahman, what is the Atmasti. I am staying there. So therefore, Brahmaivahamiti stitva, this space that is there within me, which we call it as Atma, Atma, let us not confuse it to something which is, there's another entity that is there. No, it is, I am the Atman. That's what is the Atma, is a word to say that I am. And I am resting in myself. I am in, or in the words that it is too long to say, therefore say that being. That's what is the state. All the being as something else to being as self. This is what is Atma Sukhi Bhava, Swatma Sukhi Bhava, Ajnana Kalana Yavat Brahma Bhavana, Yavadastha Jagadjale, Drishye Yavat Satyata, Dehe Yavataham Bhavaha, Tavat Chitta Vikalpana. So, as long as that there is an assumption of the ignorance, as long as that there is the idea that one is not Brahman, Ajnana Kalana Yavat, until what time until what this time, that you are caught up in the Ajnana, that means to say ignorance. And what is that ignorance? The ignorance is given Yavat Abrahma Bhavana, that I am not the Brahman, kind of a feeling that is there. I am the world, I am various things that are there outside, and I identify anything it can be. It can be the wealth, it can be money, it can be prestige, it can be position. Any of these things that are there, it is Anatma Bhavana or Abrahma Bhavana. And Yavatas Astha Jagadjale Drishye Yavatta Satyata. Asatyata Yavat Satyata. Now use Jagadjale Drishye Yavat Satyata. So now what happens is you believe in the world outside, and then you get caught up into this world Jagadjale, and that you take it to be real. This idea of Jagadjala is something which is very suggestive, very beautiful. It is like the way that we give in the idea of about the stress also. We say that when you take a wheel, and in the wheel that you are away from the center, then the movement starts. When you're away from the center, like the way that the spokes are there, and then there's a ball and the spoke, and then the spoke moves away. As long as it is at the center of the spoke, that means at the center, then there is no movement, it is just at one place. But the moment that it moves away from it, then it starts rotating. Then the speed comes, then the rotation comes, then up and down comes. So all these things then now introduce the moment that you are away from the center. And this is what psychologically, when you say that up and down, that means success and failure, that means elation and depression. Because you are on the spoke, that naturally these things will happen. And again, the speed is there because it starts moving. At the center, there is absolutely no speed. At the moment that you come out of into the away from the center, then you see speed is there. But more important thing is that if you try to look at an object which is away from the center in a turning wheel, that you see that it has a tendency to go out away from the center. There is a tendency there is a pressure to go away from the center. This is what is centripetal force. What is that which is sucking towards the center? But then when it is turning, it has a tendency to move away from that. This is very beautiful analogy in the sense that the more and more that you go into the world, the more and more that you get attracted into the world. And as you go away from the more and more, and then more and more entanglement will be there, ups and downs will be more, speed is also increasing. You see, as you go to the periphery, that means to say the circle, then all these things include. This is what one demands the other to the second to the third. This is what is Jagadjale. It is like a web of life. The life entangles around you a whole web. And then what happens? You think of the center, come back to the center, then you see that you need to settle down 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. And then in the process of settling down 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 more points increase. So therefore, you get caught up in that particular thing. There is never a time will come for you that you go back to the center. Before that, the death engulfs you. So at the time of death, again, that you have so many things which are unfulfilled, and so many things that you still need to do it. And that's what brings you back into the life. Life after life, you get caught up into this particular world. The simple reason is that you are a dissatisfied person. This is what is Jagat Jale, Drishye Yavat Cha Satyata, Dehe Yavat Aham Bhavaha, Tavat Chittadi Kalpana. So, this Dehe Yavat Aham Bhavaha, that's what there is a sense that I am this body, or I am this body complex that is there, and then whatever that requirement for the body is satisfying for that body, I'm identified with that. The more and more that I identify, that means I need to fulfill those things which are there connected with the body. Many times what happens is we don't want the things to go away, but the things still go away because that's what is the nature of the world outside. So we just get caught up in this, and that is what is Jagat Jale, Dehe Yavat Aham Bhavaha, Tasma Chittadi Kalpanaha. Chitta is nothing but all these things which are I associated with objects, I associated with the things, activities, and all those things. This is what is the way Aham Bhava that enters, and that's one thing which catches you. As long as there is the idea that one is, I'm not the Brahman, the Supreme Self, as long as that there is regard for the web illusion of the world, as long as that there is idea of reality in the scene, in the object outside, and as long as that there is a sense of I, this I becomes concrete in the body, so long there will be imagination, idea of mind, and the like. And here, that is the I is very interesting phenomena. I has no existence locus standi without the object outside. I is actually Asmit Ahankara or Ahambhava that is there. It has got existence only because of the matter outside. If the outside matter is not the issue at all, then the I does not exist. The I is identified with, I have so many things, I have this, I have that, I have bank balance, and I achieved this, I achieved this. Ultimately, the idea is that I am a sannyasi, I am the greatest of the sannyasi. I've seen that in one particular institution. There's a very sannyasi, there's a sannyasi who came to have, we had a retreat there, and then he comes and then he participated. Beautiful talk he has given. And then after him that there is another sannyasi supposed to come. And I didn't know until that time that in sannyasin order also that there is this hierarchy. And then the sannyasin says that, oh, next man who is coming, he's senior to me, that I have to bow in front of him. I said, but you look to be older, and you are at least 20 years older than him, but he's younger. No, but in the order he is a senior, therefore that I have to bow in front of him. He doesn't bow in front of me. And it is an order. So like that, and then there is another sannyasi came who is supposed to be senior to him. So everywhere I could hear again this idea of that even the sannyasatva is supposed to be that your own position. Of course, there is a system that is there in which they have provided that kind of thing. But more important thing is that becomes like your own bondage in the world outside. So therefore, that the Dehe, this is what is Deha Bhava. This all belong to the Deha Bhava. So therefore, he says that Yavad Aham Bhava, Dehe Yavad Aham Bhava, Tavat Chittadi Kalpana. The Chitta becomes the Kalpana, the imagination, all those things come in the Chitta because of this particular thing. That Bhogaishvanvas Nastita Chittasya Shitalamala Nivrutte Chinnashapasha Jalasya Kshiyate Chitta Vibhramaha. One whose mind is indifferent to enjoyment. That means Bhogeshva Anastha Chittasya. Astha means attachment. Anastha, there is no attachment for this bhoga ichcha, and whatever it is there, yadurcha labha santushta, whatever that comes, that you are satisfied with that. And shitalamala nivrutte, that means to say one who is satisfied, who is a cool, and then amala, that means to say disturbance or the dirt that is there, and you are free from that, stainless, and whose snare consists of chains of hopes that are cut, and then chinna shapa jalasya, that means to say all those things which are supposed to be the binding shackles, and all that is cut, and the delusion of the mind is kshiyate chitra vibhramaha. Kshiyate chitta vibhrama is also used in the Upanishad. Kshiyante chasyatmani tasmin drishte paravare. When can you go beyond to see that something which is beyond? That's Brahman. When the Atma is freed from all other shackles that are there in the world. We are in this world, but all this and interacting with this world, and whatever that we're interacting, whatever that is there in this world, only when we transcend that, when we go beyond that, and kshiyante jasya atmani tasmin drishte paravare, then we try to look at something which is Brahman. This is the idea in the Upanishad says. Here also it says kshiyate chitra vibhramaha. The mind delusion that are there are completely destroyed. The mind itself is destroyed. Antarmukhataya sarvam chidvagnau trijalasthrunam juhvato antar nivartante munehe chittadi vibhramaha chittam jnanagnina dagdham nabhuyaha pararohitaha. He says that the sage who has offered as oblation all the stars of the three worlds in the fire of consciousness inwardly, and delusion of the mind, and like the turn away from within, the mind burnt by the fire of knowledge does not spring up again. The idea of all the three stars. What are the three stars that are there? Adibhuta, Adidaivika, Adhyatma. All these things that are there, which are the Antarmukhataya Sarvam, Chidvahni Trijagathrunam. All the three worlds, that means to say Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, all these things which are supposed to be that we have. The idea is whatever that is there in this world that we are attached with, we are connected with it. And second thing is that whatever that the deep inside that we have stored in the form of what I like to do, like to happen, this is what is Preta world. And another thing is that there is a Daiva world, and that's what is supposed to be the way that we have the divinity that's there within us. All these three things that we come out of it. This expression comes this is taken from the Agama Shastras, and where we have this Shraddha ceremony where all the three levels of existence we try to offer the satisfaction, all those things, to see that we cross beyond that. So the sage who has offered, sannyasis are supposed to offer their Shraddha karma themselves, so they offer so that they are free from that. This is what is the tradition. Because why the tradition has come up? Because that this is actually the tradition which is the householder is supposed to do the Shraddha karma for the departed soul, to see that they are freed from the bondages at all these three different levels, from the next generation side. That's what is the son, who is supposed to take him away from all these things by doing this offering. So you offer for yourself all those things, so that you are freed from any of those attachments that are there. So therefore, the offering of these three stars from the three worlds and in the fire of consciousness inwardly, and that has to be offered inwardly, deep inside our mind, to say that I am free from all these three different worlds that are there, and with that the delusions of the mind and like turned away from within, the mind burnt. Such a person, when he is now exercising the mind, he has taken away all those things from his mind, and he has offered, he has surrendered himself, all those things to the divinity, to the Brahman, and then he now lives with the mind. And when he lives with the mind in this world, and that mind is now actually like the way the seed which is burned by the fire, Dagdha Bijavatu. And what is this fire that you burn this mind with? It is the fire of knowledge. And that fire of knowledge, Dagdham na bhuyaha parirohita, jnanagnana dagdham. With the help of knowledge, and then you're burnt, so that what happens is that the burnt seed idea is that seed is exactly the same shape, maybe same color, everything is the same. But only thing is it does not, it regenerate itself, it cannot create anything. And it is just useful as the way that it looks like as a mind, but it does not create. It is like the way that you are a mirror which only reflects, but it does not hold on to it and create. Further creation of the attachment will not develop. It cannot have an attachment. A mind that is burnt by the Jnanagni, the fire of knowledge, is something which does not have that tendency to procreate or the multiply kind of a thing. So that's how he lives in this world without any idea of, with the idea that there is no further multiplication of that. And sarvesham api jivanam stitaivesha chidavyaya kintu abhovasha abodhavasha vashadasya sarve kripanata gataha. The immutable, imperishable consciousness is verily existing in all living beings. It's there in all living beings, the same consciousness that is there, but on account of ignorance, because that ignorance, that avabhut vashat asyaha, there because of the lack of knowledge, because the ignorance, all these fall into wretchedness. Kripanata gataha. That means to say, all small. See, he talks about Akasha. Akasha means where Sukham, Kham is Akasha, that means the space where there is no boundary. That means expansiveness. Expansiveness, opposite expansiveness is the limitedness. That means to say possession. It is like hoarding, it's holding on to it. And this is what is called as Kripanata. Kripanata is the idea called as the wretchedness, the cheapness. It is said that the eagle that flies high in the sky, because the wings are there, because the capacity of flying is there, and all those things are there, in spite of the fact it is flying high in the sky, its eyes are there always on the rat which is there on the earth. That means however high you fly maybe, but then if your sight is that only at the cheap little things and then smallish things, that's what happens because of the ignorance. So then comes the next one, which is supposed to be the theme story for this particular week, and that is what is Ajnanam Apadam Nishtha. Ignorance is the cause for calamities. All our problems are, there's one cause for the calamities, that is Ajnanam Apadam Nishtha Kahinapada Janataha Iyam Sansara Sarani Vahat Yajna Pramadataha. That means what indeed is not misfortune to one who does not understand that this course of worldly existence flows on account of insanity of the ignorance. So, Bhavat Ajnana Pramadataha. So, it flows because of Ajnana and Pramada. That means to say self-forgetfulness and samsara. We create this kind of flow of world. One connected with the other, one connected second and then third and fourth. Just connection goes on in this world. We want to set the world right before we leave. So that is the way that even the idea that spiritual journey you have to make, you say that I can make the spiritual journey once I set this whole world in order, and then only I can go for further in the spiritual journey. So you create this kind of samsara sarani. Sarani is a very beautiful idea. That is one, it's a chain of the activities that you create in this world. And we try to create the chain ourselves. We don't want to free ourselves from the chain of events. Therefore, what happens is, there's another thing also that is there. If we have created a small little chain and we finish those things and we feel that yes, I've satisfied, I've achieved, then the mind starts thinking that yes, I can create some more ideas, I can add some more things to it. So that means you go on adding more and more. You can't just say that, okay, I've done, so that let me just withdraw from this world. Let me finish this. This is the cutoff point. You do not come to that idea. You try to create some more ideas. Anyway, now there is more time, so therefore more things can be done. So we go on filling ourselves with this chain of activities that are there. We create this surrounding. Until that time, we add points to that in such a way that at the end of the day, when we are going to bed, if everything is satisfied, that we are not satisfied, we say that yes, I could add some more things, so that what happens next day when you are going to bed, at that time there are so many things that still yet to be done, so you have an agenda for next day to wake up. The whole idea is as if that if you don't have anything to do next day, you may not even wake up. And like the way that we want to wake up to do certain things tomorrow, the same way that life also ends with an idea of doing some more things when you wake up into the next life. So this is what is Ajnanam Apada Nishtha. Ignorance is the basis for all calamities. What happens with us is that we find out all the calamities, all the problems, all the difficulties, we attribute to the other outside. As long as we attribute the calamities or the problems and difficulties to the world outside, so long that we don't look for finding the solution within us. That's why last time I was saying that Vishada, everybody has it. Difficulties, everybody has it. But only in Arjuna's case, Vishada has become Vishada Yoga. In everybody else's case, it does not happen. Why? The simple thing is that whenever we have any Vishada, any difficulty, we try to find out the finger towards something else, and because of that I am in this sadness. Because of this, I am in sadness. It may be about the world outside, people about the world outside, or maybe the world itself it can be improvised, it can be made better. A plumber was taken to Niagara Falls, and just to show the beauty of Niagara Falls, he was there. The plumber was looking at very seriously the Niagara Falls, and after that, first time that he went to those falls, and when he saw that water flowing so much from all different directions in that gorge in Niagara Falls and all that he saw, at the end of it, the person who took him, the plumber was maybe some other country, then his son took him there and showed the father the beauty of this. And then the father looked at the whole thing, and then son at the end of it asked, Dad, what do you feel about this? Basically, he's a plumber, that he looks at the Niagara Falls. I think I can fix it. That means to say, basically, he thought it is like a pipe, it is leaking, and then he can fix the pipe. That's what is his job. He looks at that also something that he can fix it. So the world that we are ready to fix it, we want to fix the world outside, we want to fix the surroundings, we fix the family, we want to fix everything, and then only we can rest. So therefore, basically, this ajnana, we want to see that the calamities happen on the outside, and we are here to fix it, and then we go for the fixing of it. This is what he says, ignorance is a basis. We never think that it is the ignorance which is making us to see all that problem that is there in the world outside. The moment that you don't have ignorance, the knowledge is there, then everything that is there in the creation becomes like a point of wonder. Look at the children. They are not here in this world to fix anything. That's why they look at the world with sense of wonder. That's why he says that a person who is childlike, he has that sense of wonder because he doesn't have anything to fix. He just enjoys this world, Leela. So there is nothing like problems, formality, difficulties and all those things that you need to fix. You just be in this world, enjoy this world, be in the present. That's what is the idea. Ajnanam apadam nishta kahinapada janataha. That what indeed is not the misfortune to one who does not understand this. What a loss it is. Iyam samsara sarani bhatya Bahatyajna Agnya Pramadataha. That means the flow is according to the inattention or insanity, ignorance of the ignorant person, and then he doesn't see that this world is something which is flowing. Another important idea also that as long as that there is level difference, the flow does not take place. If flow has to take place, that means there is something is higher, something is lower, something has more, something has less. Then the flow increases. Like the way the knowledge also flows when somebody is there who is not knowledgeable, he is ajnani, and somebody who has jnana, knowledge is there, then only flows. Somebody needs it, somebody has that to give, so therefore the flow takes place. So in order to make this flow to happen, you have to create that kind of a balance, that kind of a gradient that you need to create. So this is how essentially it goes on. And particularly when the knowledge comes that people go on try to advise somebody or the other, they don't even look at it. Is it something that there is a recipient there? That means to say, have I created that gradient? Is there a way that he is ready to receive? He may be very close to you, but then knowledge will not flow unless until that gradient is available. Look at the way Arjuna was there with Krishna for such a long time. Before the war came, so many times that Krishna and Arjuna met. Not only Krishna and Arjuna, Pandavas are also, all the Pandavas met, everybody met. But then Krishna never said Bhagavad Gita. The Gita has never flown from Krishna. Only in the battlefield, that's where Arjuna listens to Krishna because that gradient is provided. That flow is made possible. So that means if the flow has to be made possible, then this variety, these differences have to be there. So that gradient is created. Samvedyana paramrishtam shantam sarvatnakam chayat tats Satchida bhasamayam astiham kalanojjatam. There exists here that reality, samvedya paramamrishtam, which consists of the light of being consciousness, shantam sarvatmakam chayat, and it is peaceful and abandoned by knowing, untouched by the known. The reality is diluted by the process of knowing, and which is in the mind and absolutely free from the known and is undivided, being conscious. In fact, earlier also that we had one discussion where it says that the reality that is created being is that it is the knowing knowledge and the knower. These are the two things that we have divided. And then the knower and the known, that this division that is created. When this division is not there, it is just one become. It's not anymore known, but it is something like being. Like for example, that when you say that I am a human being, it's not that I know that I am a human being or I don't know about I am a human being, but it's a state of being. So it has to become the state of being. Similarly, for a person that who says that Aham Brahmasmi, that Brahman is that his being is identified with that. It's not that the process of knowing. It's not because of somebody said or some book said somewhere that I read, therefore it has become like that. But I am living that. And if once that becomes like a living, then you become one with that. In such a case, that there is no question of, that is what is the reality. And process of knowing, and the knowing still belongs to the mind. I know that I am a human being. That know is there, it's still in the mind. Whereas the moment that I am the human being, then basically that there is no question of knowing and the knower, that's a different kind of a thing. Mullah Nasruddin went to the club, rushing, and then the man that is standing there, he asked that Mr. Rahman came here to drink today, and the owner, the pub owner, he said, yes, Rahman came to drink. An hour ago he was here. Then Mullah asked that, was I also there along with him when he came for drinking? That means to say he doesn't even remember that he has come here. He is not there. He is so much intoxicated that he doesn't even know that. I am that I came. He wanted somebody else's reference. If Rahman came, I would have come along with him. That is the idea that he thinks of it. Whereas you are that, there is no question of it is known, you are. There is a gap between these things. Avidya vibhagaha. Now there is a division of. Now let's go to the main Yoga Vasishta. I'll try to bring about some points about in this chapter from the Vairagyabhyasavashat tatha tattvabodhanat samsarasthiriyate tena teshve abhyasa maharaha. So, hey Ramachandra, that's what Krishna Vasishta says. Vairagya abhyasavashat. These are the two things. One is called as the Vairagya, and then Abhyasa. These are the two things that earlier also that we have seen. Vairagya abhyasavashat tatha tattvabodhanat. Only these two things are not sufficient. That means to say, the reality we identify with that. And that's what he calls it in the form of that we Chidatma Bhavana. Atma Bhavana, I am that Brahman, and that Bhavana. It's not that I know Brahman, but it is that I have become, I am that Brahman. Chidatma Bhavana. And that's what is there. He says that Tattvavalokanat. It's a very beautiful word. And by knowledge that I am the Brahman, with that samsarasthiriyate tena. And then what happens that you float over the samsara, the world that is there. You're still in the world, but then you float in the world, not touched by the world. That's what is the idea of Padmapatra Vibhav. Like the way the lotus leaf, not touched by the water. So therefore, samsarasthiriyate tena teshvevabhyasas mahataha. And this is what basically we need to do. Now, why he insists on this tattvabhyasa here, or why he says that about the idea of that, the Chidatma Bhavana, I am that Brahman, I have become one with that Brahman, and that Atma Bhavana, why it is necessary? If it is only the Vairagya and Abhyasa, these are the only two things that are there, this is what is the way that yoga suggests us. Abhyasa Vairagya Abhyasa Nirodha. What is the problem with the only Abhyasa and Vairagya that is there? When these two things are there, what might happen, what can be the problem that can be is that you get into the state of shunyatva. That means you don't, the joy element is gone away. A discipline, whatever may be said and done, that discipline takes away the joy element. And then we see that others are joyful, whereas I'm not having that opportunity to enjoy. And when I have done this kind of an abhyasa for a long period of time, and that becomes like my habit that way. Now, what happens when it becomes a habit? Then, even if I would like to go into the world outside, there are several problems that come about, and one problem is about the guilt. Another problem is about, am I doing something which is wrong? And third is basically that, look, everybody else is going, I'm different. All these things will also take away that your joy element. That's one of the reasons why we see that many of the people who have taken to the spiritual path, you see that they have become so serious. They don't have the joy of life. They don't have that blissful state of being. They're very serious. In fact, they many times that their name is Ananda, but they're very serious. They don't have that joy of life. Ordinary people, the people in the world, seem to be much more joyful and enjoying because these are the people who lose that. So therefore, it's not just only the Vairagya Abhyasa Vashat. After that, Tatha, in addition to that, Tattva Babodhanat. That means to say, there is a need for recognizing that I'm the bliss myself. Then what happens? I don't go to the object for the sake of happiness. I'm happy, and then I can still go to the object, but I'm happy within myself. This is the state that we reach. One of the disciples of Buddha, during the rainy season, that they would go and stay with some grahasthas, they will not be the wandering monks. So one of the disciples said that I will go and stay in that Vaishya's house. Buddha said, yes, go. For 4 months, you go and stay there and then come back. Other disciples who were there, they said, what is this? She is a prostitute, and then you ask this young man to go there and stay. Does it not corrupt him? He is not, all that, whatever that he has done in the form of discipline, is it not going to be waste like that? Buddha said, if you would have asked that, I would not have certainly accepted that, because I know what he is. So therefore that I suggest him to go. But then the disciples were not happy with that. But what to do? It's Buddha's suggestion. So therefore that they waited. 4 months later, they were hoping that this fellow will not come back, or even if he'll come back, he will come back with a proposal that he has married her or whatever it is. And as they expected, 4 months later that this man came along with that girl who was there supposed to be a prostitute. And then they were almost like wishing that he might have say like that. But he came and then bowed in front of him. Buddha said that this lady would like to take a diksha from you, and then she would become like a monk in your order. So that means to say, he could convert her to be a monk also. That his influence on her, it really worked. So it's not that he has changed himself because of that, but his influence worked on her. Buddha at that time said to the disciples, look I knew that this is what is his ability. He can make somebody like that who is so engrossed in the world to free from the clutches of the samsara. That's what comes out of it. So samsarastiyate tena teshveva bhyasa samaharaha. And antarmukhataya sarvam chidvahnau tijagatrunam jihvatontar nivartante mune chittadi vibhramaha. So once you become antarmukhata, that means you turned inwards, your whole perception is, or you found the joy within yourself, antarmukhata. And then whatever that is there, sarvam, chidvahnu trunam. Trijagat, all the 3 worlds that are there, they become like trunapraya. That means like that they are the piece of grass that you do not. Jihvato antar nivartante munesh chittadi vibhramaha. So, like the way that the into Chidatma, that means into the fire of the chitta that is there inside, and then you have offered the ghee or the object of the homa, that is the fire ceremony that you do it, you offered that within into the Chidagni, Chidatma Juhvato Munehe Chittadi Vibhramaha. Then all these things, all these confusions in the mind will go away once you surrender these, offer it to the idea of Chidatma. That's the reason why it's not just good enough to have that only Abhyasa and Vairagya. Together with that, this Chitatma and perception of that, that's what he says, that Vairagya Abhyasa Tathaha Tattvavabodhanat. Tattvavabodhanat is that knowing the self, that's what is very important. But then there is also, at other places, they said that by doing the Abhyasa and Vairagya properly, the Tattva Bodhana will automatically happen. You reach the Brahmasthiti, Atmasthiti. That's what is Patanjali's idea of Kaivalya. When you practice the yoga, which is Abhyasa Vairagya Abhyam, when you take those 2 paths, then naturally Nirvana is something which results into it. results in. But being slightly short of it, you might be an excellent practitioner of Sanyama, practitioner of Abhyasa and Vairagya, the non-attachment and also the discipline. All those things may be there, but still that one small little gap may be there. It's like the way that water is at 99 degrees and it has not yet reached 100, but then the transformation has not come. Until about 99 degrees, the water still flows downwards. The direction of flow is always downwards, you have to hold it. But the moment it becomes 99, one more degree added to it, that's all. Then the water does not flow downwards. On the other hand, it floats in the air, goes towards the sky, takes in the opposite direction. This disciple of Buddha recognized that that person was at that level where he is beyond that. For us to look at, he may be as an ordinary human being, but then his inside is something which is beyond that 99 degrees, beyond that 100 degrees. Therefore, not only he did not get disturbed by the world outside, but he also helped somebody to go beyond. That's the idea that is brought about. When the consciousness remains asleep with the eightfold body, that means to say, 5 the subtle elements, the mind, 5 the mind elements. These are the manaschitta. These are the panchabhutas that we have: Prithvi, Apa, Tejo, Vayu, Akasha. That means the earth, fire, air, water, by which space, by which that this body is made. Together with that, mind, intellect, and ego, and these are the things which will become totally. According to this Yoga Vasishtha, this is Sapta Puryashatakayata Chit Stita Dukkadayini. These 5 subtle, these eightfold body, which is the 5 elements and then 5 subtle elements, 4 subtle elements, all the 3 subtle elements, and all these things. This is eightfold body. There are several ways this body is represented in the Vedanta, and each, not that one dispute with the other, but there are different ways of perception. Like, for example, Ekona Vimshati Mukha in Upanishad, it is 11 mouths. Then the body has 11 ways, 5 Karmendriya, Jnanendriyas, plus Antakarna, and then 4 Antakarnas, and then 5 Panchapranas. All these things put together, 19 mouths, and that's what the body structure is. Or like that, there are several ways of looking at it. The way that Yoga Vasishtha looks in this particular chapter is the way that this body has 8 different elements, and these 8 elements are supposed to be the 5 Panchabhutas, the 5 basic elements, and also Manas, Buddhi, and Ahankara. These are the things which are together, and all these things put together, as long as they exist there, as long as that you are attached with them, they are the giver of sorrow. It remains there merely as existence, like and when you are identified with that, the consciousness that is there within, it exists as just only a witness. That's what Mukantha Jadatvat Tatra Satta Matrena Tishtati. Just being awake, and that's all it is there. The consciousness is still there, but as only just a silent observer that is there behind it. In fact, this observer is there within us as a silent observer. It's a very beautiful statement that Yoga Vasishtha makes it, that you may be doing anything, but then behind it there is always this observer. Like, for example, you might be telling a lie to somebody. The whole world might believe that what you are telling is the truth. But then there is inside within you, there is a witness who knows that you are telling a lie. He is a witness for that. Similarly, that your anger, out of anger, that you are hurting somebody, and then you justify by any argument that what you have done is right. You might give 100 arguments, and then you can convince the whole world that what you are doing is right. But if you just sit down and watch behind it, there is somebody who is sitting behind, who says that you are doing wrong, so that he knows, he is a witness. And we don't take the side of witness. That witness is you. But then we don't take the side of witness because we have some reason or the other to convince to take the side of what is there outside the door. Whereas look at the children. They don't have that witness separate from what they are. See, for us, that witness is different and we are different. Therefore, we do the activity, but behind that, there is this witness that is existing. But in the children, it is not like that. Therefore, the children do not tell a lie because there is no personality which tells a lie. There's only that personality who tells the truth. So truth belongs to that witness, and then children are always one with the witness. Children only tell the truth. They cannot tell a lie. We teach them to tell a lie. We make them to see that what is important in telling a lie. So therefore, sapta paryashtaka yatra chit sthitaha dukkhadayini mukandha jadatvat tatra satta matrena tishtati. Just a witness that jada in the form of non-performer just stays there. They constitute the body and he is there. The idea is that if this consciousness is not there, then where is the question of all this thing that comes up? In the human being, this consciousness is still there as a witness. In all other objects, the consciousness became the object itself. But human being is somebody who is a spectrum from the gross level body to all the way up to consciousness. And we know that there is one consciousness that is there behind who knows about everything. That's why it is said that you can convince the whole world, but you cannot convince yourself. And another thing is that this witness, for the sake of lack of better word, we say called as a witness. But then otherwise, this witness is operating without even the senses. That means the eyes are not necessary, ears are not necessary. All the senses are necessary for interaction. And he knows behind all these things he is existing. And that he is supposed to be the pure consciousness that's there within us. And now this pure consciousness is also another very interesting thing is that we have several things like that inner voice. People call it as inner voice. All that inner voice that people call is not the real one. But what happens is many times what we do is that our culture also creates, our civilization also creates, our belief system also creates certain about witness there inside. And that witness also says that what you are doing is wrong. The witness says that this is not the way you should have been doing. But then that may be basically culture or religion given. Hindus have a different kind of a witness they have created. And there also Dvaitas created a different witness. Advaitas create different witness. Christians and Muslims, they have different kind of witnesses that are there. Like the way Orthodox Hindu, they can never stay without taking bath. Even the morning cup of tea, they cannot have chai, they cannot have it. By chance, for some reason or the other, they are supposed to take coffee or tea in the morning without taking bath. They feel so much of guilt about the whole thing. That witness in them is so strong to say that, look, you are doing something wrong. But this is not the true witness that is there, adhyatmic witness, but this is something, a witness which is created by the culture, by the habit that we are doing. So therefore, that there is satta matrena tishtati, somebody who stays in that witness, who is there, that witness is very peaceful, very quiet, not involving in that when you are doing something. Sri Rama Vacha, satta matrena samsthanam muktehe sangrahitam khalu. Is not firmly abiding the mere existence close to liberation, being one with the satta samanya. Is it not something which is close to liberation? Muktehe, is it not mukti? Vasishtha says that buddhi purvam vicharyeva tathavas avalokanam satta samanya bodho yaha sa mokshaha syatcha anyaha. Having already investigated intentionally, so that on account of looking out for inquiry into reality, there is a knowledge of the total existence, and that would be liberation, not otherwise. Now, this Satta Samanya Sthiti, that means to say, this deep inside the observer, that what we are talking about, he is a witness that is there, bodho yaha, moksha syat na cha anyatha. This becomes moksha only when you consciously identify yourself with that. So let me make it very clear that what happens is that everybody has that, but what happens is that it's not that we are consciously identified with that from the point of view of Vedanta, idea of Vedanta, from the spiritual direction. But whereas the people have that, and for convenience sake that they identify, they might say that may be prompted by any other thing that is there outside, then that's not going to be the reality. That's not really the moksha or bhukti. Now, this is a very interesting aspect about this is that mukti or moksha, mrityu, these all very similar kind of words that are there. So, this witness that is there, as I said, in the child is identified with that witness. As we grow up, then what happens is that we have come away from that witness and we are engaged in the world outside, and then witness is there behind once in a while that we identify with the witness, otherwise that we also perceive that there is witness, but we don't care for that. Now, a person who, when he dies, an ordinary person when he dies, because he is identified with the world outside, not with that witness, then he undergoes the death, because whatever that he identified with the world outside is completely destroyed with the help of death. With the help of death, everything that is connected with us all destroyed. Therefore, what happens? Mrityu occurs to him. The death occurs, mrityu means death. Death occurs to him. But for somebody who is identified with this, with the spiritual knowledge, he identifies himself with this witness that is there behind, then what happens is that any moment he can easily jump into the witness, any moment he can go into that witness and leaving the body behind. So at the time of death, when he knows that the death is happening, immediately jumps his position, his place, from the idea of identification with the body and connected this, he identifies himself with the consciousness which is the witness. So somebody who identifies with that and allows the body to go die, body, mind complex, everything dies, then that is not mrityu, and that's what is moksha. That is what is mukti. Mukti is freedom. So such a person is the freedom. The other person is only death. What is the idea of freedom and the death? The other person carries so much of baggage before he leaves his body. That agenda is there. That's the reason why he was holding on to the body. He still has to perform a lot of things. Therefore, that he is holding on to the body. Therefore, he attracts another body. He attracts another birth. He attracts come back. But he comes back with that agenda already filled within himself. In order to acquire, in order to perform that kind of whatever that he has, he comes back with that. But in the process, that when he comes back into the new life, again that he gathers some more kind of attachments and then desires and all that in the next life, and then this continues. So all those things might have been done, but the new things are added, or they may not have been completed, but the new things are added. So this journey continues. Therefore, mrityu is the one which, death is the one which will bring you back to the life. Whereas the freedom that is there, which is mukti or freedom from this body, while living here, is the person, he does not attract the death because he has no agenda to fulfill. He is free, he is just only witness. Witness does not have any agenda. I mean, when we say witness, it is not the cultural witness, it's not the witness that is created by your own values and ideas, etc., etc. It is beyond that. Your culture, your religion can give you that kind of an attachment with you. It was very interesting to know that Azmal Kasab was a terrorist. He was arrested during the Bombay incident, bomb blast and all that. At that time, when he was given the narco test, That means that he was into the semi-conscious level where he can go into the deep conscious, whatever that is there hidden in his consciousness. He says, and they said that, look, are you repenting that you are going through the death sentence? He said, no. He said, why? He said, I'm convinced that I will come back. When I leave here, it's not the question I come back because in Islamic religion, it is not like that. But when I leave here, that I'm already convinced that in heaven, that there are so many apsaras are the beautiful women, they're all waiting, and then all the luxuries are waiting for me. So therefore, I'm going there. So at subconscious level, deep inside, that religion has created that kind of a desire within him. He's not free from that. And that has been the way that he says like that. So essentially that they are something which are, whereas product, he lives happily so that he leaves happily. That's also there, very clear. Therefore, that he does not accept anything. That is there. Parignyata parityago vasanayam apekshate antasupta sthitamanda 17th, 18th sutras that I am talking about now. And antasupta sthitamanda yatra bija avankuram vasanatat sushuptatva vidhi janmapadam puraha. The renunciation of mental impressions, the parignyaya, parityago, parignyaya, that is the internal, that is the impressions that are there, all those things that parityagaha, that means having given up those things, vasanayam apekshate, that having thoroughly known them, antasupta sthita manda, where the mental impressions, manda, yatra bija vankuram, and remains asleep within, like the sprout within a seed, know that to be the thorough sleeplessness, causing but though thorough sleepiness causing the birth again. Vasanatat sushuptatva vidhi janma padam puraha. So, one who has thoroughly known about the mental impressions or the vasanas that are there, and then because antaha supta sthita manda, that means to say in a supta state, that means to say in a sleep state, that appears to be not there, but then it all goes into the seedal form. However deep it may be, then it will come back again. That stavarayata, so vasanayata tatha vahni runavyadhi dvishamapi sneha vaira vishanamcha sesha Salpahapi badhyate. Even the little of the residual mental impressions are the vasanas, even a little that is there, and that fire, death, disease, enemy, idleness, affection, and hostility, and all these things poison, oppress, they all come back again. Abhyasena vinaramaha naudeti brahma bhavana. We need to get into that brahma bhavana. Brahma Sthiti. Earlier, as I said, that going into the state of Tattva-bodha, knowing about the Brahman, Brahma Sthiti. Abhyasena vinaramaha navudeti Brahma bhavana. You will not get into that Brahma bhavana just only at the time of death. It has to be the way of life that we are doing. In fact, in the normal course of time also, we need to carry that Brahma bhavana. When can we carry that Brahma bhavana? Is that when we are constantly thinking of it, like the way that we have such a beautiful way that introduced before taking the food. You say that Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam. That means the fire is Brahman and then offering is Brahman to the Brahman that we are giving. This symbolically that we use at the Brahma while taking food. But this is something, if you can constantly think of this particular mantra, anytime in any activity that you do, It is nothing but Brahma's karma, the activity of Brahman. That brings about the abhyasena vinarama navudeti Brahma bhavana. Brahmavana happens because of this practice. Brahmachit Brahma bhuvanam Brahma bhuta akampa parampara. Then this Brahman is the world and Brahman is the mind. The Brahman is a pure consciousness. Brahman is the chit, and then Brahmachit, Brahma Bhuvanam. That means this world is supposed to be Brahman. Brahman is a section of every being. Brahma Bhuta Parampara. That means to say the light, the generation after generation, whatever happening, it's all manifestation of the Brahman. Brahma Bhuta Parampara, Brahmanda Brahma Machatruhu. Then Brahma is my friend, and Brahmaham Brahma Machatruhu. I am Brahman, and then Brahma is my enemy, Brahma is my friend and relatives. Brahma Mantritra Bandhavaha, all my friends are Brahman. Sarvameva hi Brahmeti Bhavate Atisukhi Kilaha. So Brahman is my friend, Brahma is relative, everything is indeed Brahman only. And one indeed becomes extremely happy when this is meditated upon. This is the mantra that Yoga Vasishtha suggests us. Is the way that you remember, you recollect yourself all the time. The friend is also Brahman, the foe is Brahman. You are the Brahman and the offering is Brahman. And every offering that you do is Brahman, and what reaches is supposed to be Brahman. So this way, when you fill yourself with that Brahma Bhavana and Abhyasena Vinarama Navudeti Brahma Bhavana, then you are filled with that Brahmasthiti Brahma Bhavana. There is nothing else which is other than this Brahman that's there in the creation. This is the most beautiful mantra. That's what we have to remember. We remember always mantra, and there is nothing that you need to do. As I was always saying, that realizing this idea is the one, that's what is the Yoga Vasishtha speciality. He says that remember this, think of it, you are convinced about it, there is nothing else other than Brahman. And that when you convince and then repeat it, you are in that blissful state, Brahma Bhavana, and extremely happy. That's what is Bresi. Sukhi Bhava. Dukkhogamayam Agnyasya Agnyasyanandamayam Jagat Andam Bhavatu Andhasya Prakashantu Sachakshushaha. So the world consists of a multitude of sorrows to the ignorant. Dukkhogamayam Agnyasya. Agnyasya, ignorant as a person, for him the world is full of dukkha, full of sorrow. Whereas Gnasya Anandamayam Jagat, the world is Anandamayam, full of Ananda. Andha Bhuvanam Antasya. For a person who is blind, the whole world looks dark. Whereas Prakashantu Sachakshushaha, one who has the eyes, the whole world looks light. So therefore, this idea of light and darkness, the idea of that the happiness and sorrow in this world, it is more of your attitude inside rather than the world outside. God gives us only events, incidents, and then how you take that. If you take that incident and march forward, you take advantage of that situation and go ahead, then it does not become a pain for you. But then you sit down and then lament on that and feel sad about it, then it catches you. That's why I always say we are going through this particular pandemic called as COVID. Now, if you look at this COVID and then look at what all the things that we can do at the time of this situation, lockdown is there, this is there, that is there, whole 9 yards are there. But then if you think of it, what can be done? All right, this is a situation that is given to me. Now let me take the best advantage of it. Then you are the person who is a winner. But a person who sits down and curses himself that how long this continue, how much this is going to happen, and what more the things damage that it can bring about. If you are thinking of it, you are in the negative phase. You are in the negative state. So let us try to be positive. Let's go ahead. That's what the message of idea of Yoga Vasishtha, who says that we are in the Chit Atma Bhava. That means to say we are the consciousness, we are the positivity, we are the light. That's why it is called as enlightenment. Let's try to understand that and follow that. Thank you so much. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.